Hey guys, hope you're doing well. I got a horror story for you today, a real life horror story. When I tell you that when I first heard this story break, I honestly, part of me actually started to believe that we were living in hell. This was one of the stories that really had me questioning what the hell exactly the Christian God is doing, watching this shit happen and doing nothing about it, right? You're gonna tell me there's some grand plan for what this woman, this girl, was put through at the hands of her own fucking father? There's some silver lining to that shit? Let me read you a summary of what this guy did to his daughter. His blood daughter, right? Not adopted, his own flesh and blood, right? In January 1983, Elizabeth ran away from home with a friend and went to Vienna, but was found and returned to her family in less than a month. In an apparent attempt to keep Elizabeth isolated from the outside world, Josef Friztl started building the dungeon below the Amstetten house he shared with his wife. The construction is believed to have started in 1978, not long after his first rape of Elizabeth, his own daughter. The windowless dungeon had electric lighting, electronic locks on each door, and a remote code lock on the main door, which Friztl, an electrician by trade, installed himself. On August 24th, 1984, Friztl lured Elizabeth into the basement by having her help him put on the door, after which he drugged her with an ether-soaked towel and locked her in the 15 by 15 cell. She wouldn't see the light of day again for over 2 decades. During her first year of captivity, she was kept entirely restrained, but afterwards she was allowed to walk around freely inside. Fritzl's wife eventually filed a missing persons report. To cover up Elizabeth's disappearance, Friztl forced her to write a letter saying she had moved in with a friend and that she would try to leave the country if her parents came after her. The letter was postmarked in Brno. Over the following 24 years, Friztl would come down to Elizabeth every 3 days to give her food and supplies and rape her. After the birth of her first 3 children, he expanded the cell from 380 square feet to 590 square feet. He also put in a TV set, a VCR, hot plates, and a fridge. In total, she gave birth to 7 children, all conceived by her father. 3 of her children, Monica, Alexander, and Lisa, were all taken above ground by Friztl, who deceived his wife into thinking that they were foundlings and raised them with her. The other children were left in the basement with Elizabeth until their discovery. To try to keep them from trying to leave, he convinced them that the cell was rigged to gas or would electrocute them if they tried to force the door. I read this summary on a Criminal Minds wiki, and it pretty much summarizes what kind of horrific... there's no words that could really encapsulate this kinds of... what do you call it? Demonic? Horrific? Unthinkable? You really gotta... You really have to wonder. 24 years. The thing is, I will never believe that her mother did not know what the fuck was going on. How the fuck was he building the fucking dungeon underneath their own house for... they said he started building in 1978? and he imprisoned her in 1984. You mean to tell me the wife never fucking saw him build any of this shit? Never asked him where he was going? Like, man, that's... Oh, man. Only natalism could make this kind of world a reality. Really. Because from that one person he victimized, his own fucking daughter, he created 7 other fucking children. In the most... I don't even know what to say, really. I remember when this story, it was like everywhere. Newspapers, TV. It was just so fucking horrific. Do you see why I say that I don't give a fuck about people's sob stories in the things they choose to justify, in the activities they choose to justify, right? If somebody's doing some fucked up shit and their only reason for it is they're traumatized and they continue to do the fucked up shit, you're literally worse than the person who traumatized you, especially when you think it gives you a license to traumatize other people. Apparently, the fucking piece of shit was born in 1935 when Austria was under the control of the Nazis. And his mother was abusive to him. Is that reason enough? Is that excuse enough? Right? I have trauma. The world did this to me. That's why I do that. The world, like, that's... This is the end result. I don't even know what kind of words to use to describe this fucking... someone like this. You bring a child here against their own will, and when they don't do what you like, you imprison them, rape them, basically enslave them, and then produce children with your own Oh, man. Like, what am I even supposed to say to this? Honestly. What the hell kind of, like, and this is the fucking fallacy with the justice system. What justice are you going to give to this woman and the children? What justice is she going to get? Seriously. Okay, the dude's locked up now. So what? Even if they killed him, so what? The damage will never be undone. There will be no fucking, like, oh, man. And the funny thing is, so many natalists are just like this guy. They just don't have the balls to go through with the fucking, the logical conclusions of their ideology. Especially the ones who still justify beating their children, right? Or emotionally manipulating them or otherwise. I'm still trying, like, I still remember how speechless I was the first time I saw this story. And it's the same now. I still couldn't even articulate what the fuck, like, a horrific monster. These words don't even mean anything at this point. People would be so quick to call him the devil or Satan, and yet if that's the case, your fucking pathetic, impotent-ass fucking deity was watching this shit happen. Every second. He knew it would happen. He knew. He knew it was going to happen before it even happened, and yet What exactly are you going? She had, I think, in fact, one of the children he had with her, forced her to have, died because of his negligence. The baby was sick or had complications and died because of his refusal to. In fact, you know how he ended up getting caught. It's because he took one of the children. He had to take one of the children to the hospital because she was having kidney failure. And then obviously when people started asking questions, he had to say, "Oh yeah, his daughter Elizabeth dropped her here, and she's in a cult. That's why she left her here." And somehow his daughter now was able to get out and go see her daughter in the hospital. That's the only way he got caught. That was the only way he. Who knows how much fucking longer this shit would have gone on? Can you even fathom that? People are so afraid of going to prison even for 5 years, 10 years. And yet that's prison. Like, people know you're in prison, right? Lawfully, you are given more rights than most civilians, literally. Prisoners have more rights than us, if you didn't know that. Like, 100% more. Like, 24 years of nobody except your own fucking captor knowing where you are, doing the most horrific things imaginable. This is why, do you see, this guy is the face of human extinction. This guy right here is the face of human fucking extinction. The ends justify the means is how this guy has lived his life. When people say humanity should, like, be extinguished, it's like if humanity itself drives itself into extinction, right? Voluntary extinction or, a combination of other factors, that's one thing. But if you're saying there should be some like bomb that implodes and kills every human being and all the life on the planet, you are this guy times 100. This is what happens when you have fully accepted that the ends justify the means. Oh yeah, the world fucked me over, so I can just fuck everyone else over as much as I want. Right? It is a predatory mindset to be able to conceive of even killing one person, let alone 10, let alone a whole country. The predatory mindset just builds and builds and builds the more people you want to fucking extinguish. Right? Because if you say, you hope somebody else you want humanity to go extinct, but you don't want to do it by your own hands, you're even more of a fucking bitch. I'd rather you own that shit yourself and say, yeah, I do want to kill every fucking human being on the planet. Because that's what you want to do. That's what you actually want to do. Like, human extinction is a euphemism in this sense. You want to kill you want to kill as many human beings as would possibly drive the species into extinction. You have the mentality of a mass murderer. Just because you've justified it to yourself, emotionally justified it to yourself, like, found all reasonable justifications to believe it, doesn't make you any less of a fucking mass murderer. Or whatever the fuck this guy even is at this point. He's a predator. There's nothing else to say. There's not like he like a rapist, at best manslaughter, because his own, oh man, his own son, his own child with his other child, which is also his grandchild at the same time, died under his own fucking negligence. But no, you're the one who's justified because suffering is such a miserable experience, and humans are so fucking toxic and parasitic, and they need to be done away with. You're the one who's justified, right? But this guy isn't. Why? Tell me. God fucking damn it, man. You know, it's one thing to withdraw from society because the idea of society doesn't even actually exist. So there's nothing you're really withdrawing from. It's another thing to harbor such malicious intent for humanity itself. Just because you felt you were in the right, you were morally in the right to believe so. If I ever actually met somebody who was so fixed on ending humanity, I'd find them a gun, I'd find them a knife or something and be like, okay, the world is yours, go ahead. They obviously won't do shit. Because they themselves are too fucking invested in this bullshit idea of society that we already exist in. But they just want to have the opportunity to literally spread as much fucking misery as they possibly can. Just because they're miserable. This is your idol. This is who you're emulating every time you say that shit. I don't want to hear any fucking otherwise. Because in a bid to extinguish humanity forever, even it shows such an underlying fucking stupidity and immaturity to think that way as well. Especially seeing how this world, like life itself, is still such a fucking conundrum. Unless you implode this planet in particular, but the universe itself is very fucking expansive. There could literally be a species just like humans, just as sentient as humans, or even more sentient right now. They probably might have the same problems we have right now. You're gonna go and fucking genocide them as well? I'm so sick of how people get away with arguing for the most reprehensible shit and having the most seemingly airtight justifications to believe in it, to hold those beliefs. I'm so sick of that shit. I really am. I really, really am. The daughter has to live with the fact that her own fucking father imprisoned her and raped her and made her give birth to his children, her siblings, his grandchildren. And the fucking deplorable ass justification his lawyer came up with as to why he carried this shit out is beyond me. I do think there's a lot of demons on the planet. And they've learned how to masquerade in human emotions so well. To which point you might think that they are on your side. But I caution you that anyone who has a goal of mass murder know when to recognize these things for what they are. Mass murder or imprisonment in any way is not about fixing anything. They are power-hungry fucking psychopaths who will do exactly what this guy and many other people have done. All because they felt it was their place to do so.